we had a pre-talk as to whether or not to look at this energy flow and relationships in relation to the 7 trails of Ruby Mountain, because the 7 trails are 7 territories that are an important part of an even bigger study, but we feel are very vital territories. And the first trail is about the aura. So this is where we started to do with being aware of your electrical state, but also the person you're going to interact with. It just that is, there's a lot to kind of understand and consider in that. But you touched on astrology, which is the part of the 3rd trail, which is know yourself. That ancient council, know yourself, which includes astrology, but also includes what element you are, because everybody is inclined to earth, water, air, or fire as a predisposition. We decided not to go methodically through the trails, but we will refer to them where we can, because besides being helpful for yourself, they really do help in relationships. Because just this one thing, it's great to know yourself, but what about knowing others as well? So if you know your partner or your child or your mother is a particular astrology, there's the number that they are, because everybody falls into one of the prime numbers, 1 through to 9. Everybody is an element. All these things, there's the physiognomia, the face, that you can tell emotional disposition by the nose and mental disposition by the chin, and all these types of things, these old Chinese arts. If you know those things, you're just much more harmonious because you know what to expect. We're so often let down and disappointed with people because we have an expectation, a certain type of expectation or a certain type of box that we're expecting the person to step into, and they just jump out of that box, man, like that little kid would have. So that's trail 3, which is an excellent study, which is to know your own tendencies as well. My wife, for example, she's a Leo, and she's a number 5, which is 2 lots of 5. So knowing something about the nature of 5, knowing something about the nature of Leo, you can often laugh off certain reactions or certain ways that a person is, because you can both see it. You say, you're being very Leo-like. It's a very Leo-like, lion-like response, right? And you both have a laugh about it.
Yes.
So it's an excellent thing that I heard actually. You may have also heard this in ancient Egypt. People that were about to be married consulted an astrologer. I think they did the same thing in ancient China.
Oh, throughout all ancient cultures, yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, to see how strong points and weak spots in the combination of the coming together of these influences.
Yes, and that's part of because something gets done for a valid reason, and then through the centuries it becomes traditional and people forget the original reason. So the idea of arranged marriages, originally that was the idea, that to try and work to find the best compatibility because of that energy flow in relationship. It's a bit like a human unseen world's chemistry, to put the right, because you talk about elements and compounds, these natures, because if you put 2 fiery natured people together, there's balances and tolerances that are there. And when again with this mother with a little fiery child, I thought, wow, if the mother was a water sign or an earth sign, having that knowledge and just being aware of those different types of energies, you can be conscious about it and balance things accordingly. But to not know that, it makes it very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting with the ancient practice of feng shui, the Chinese art, where things are arranged quite specifically to do with energy, quite literally to do with energy flows and the way the house faces, and where the garden is. And where I live in Auckland in New Zealand, the suburb where I live is very popular with the Chinese community moving to New Zealand, because it's to the east and the houses face the other way. It's all based on a feng shui. So builders build in that way for the Chinese community market. But, you know, one of the things about Feng Shui is they teach that one of the highest causes of divorces in couples is when they're renovating their house, you know, so you're tearing the kitchen down or you're tearing the lounge apart to build an extension. And the knowledge of Feng Shui is to counterbalance that and be very, very careful about it, because those are destructive energies. They're quite the opposite of creative energies. You know, when you were talking about the baby being born and appearing into the world, that's a creative act. You know, not only takes 9 months, but there's the childhood and the teenage years. It's a growth and a creative phase. So pulling a house apart and having builders and tradesmen in there and everything's ruptured and broken, it's a destructive energy. So I thought that was fascinating. That's not good, because the statistics there in the West, you know, with divorce rates and one of the causes, but some kind of understanding comes from the East, because it's very, very ancient, to do with energy flows and also the energy of the environment. And this is another one of the trails. It's to do with our ecology and where we live and why ancient temples and why certain types of architecture. It always comes back to the energy conditions and the energy flows between the place and the people and interaction between people. So, you know, there's a thing that would be a mystery, but if you're going to get your house renovated and pull it apart, keep that in mind. You're going to be dealing with destructive energies, and that can only cause destruction. They're destructive energies, not creative energies. So,
yeah.